pool party.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, everyone, chill.
George Clooney.
I'm not the marrying kind.
I know you've had your wild night.
Good night. Wild doesn't quite cover it.
Chris O'Donnell.
Come join me. My garden needs tending.
She loves me and not you, and it's driving you crazy.
This is why Superman works alone.
Uma Thurman.
So many people to kill. So little time.
Alicia Silverstone.
And you are?
Batgirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about that person?
Found the Batcave.
She knows who we are.
Guess we'll just have to kill her.
In a Joel Schumacher film. Strength and courage.
Partners?
Honor.
Partners.
And loyalty. Freedom and justice.
Partners.
It all comes together.
We're going to need a bigger cave.
Batman and Robin.
Hey YouTubers, Hankster here, and welcome to our fourth installment of our Batman movie review marathon. And with this particular video, we're going to be focusing on, of course, the fourth movie of the Batman movie franchise, Batman and Robin. Now, I have to safely say this is the red-headed stepchild of the Batman movie series. I have to agree with a lot of people who criticize this movie about how bad it was, and in many aspects. And let's just start off with the obvious one: the casting choice. Now, outside of Christopher O'Donnell and Uma Thurman, the casting for the roles and the big roles in this movie were wrong. It was just wrong on all aspects. I just feel that at the time they just decided, instead of sticking to a formula that worked, sticking to the idea, say, let's find actors and actresses that fit the roles, you know, even stereotypically would fit these roles. That has worked. It worked in the first three movies, even in some aspects. Yes, I heard people complain about Jim Carrey playing the Riddler, and they say, well, you know, there was other choices like Robin Williams and all that. At least he could do it. It wasn't like something he had to fit himself into. It was just something he was good at. He was, you know, the perfect choice. Along, you know, it could have been either him or Robin Williams. But whatever decision they had to just pull up whoever was popular at the time to play these roles. Yeah, I know there might have been there was another reason saying that these were friends of the director and everything, and that's just another black mark on Joel Schumacher. And of course, the obvious first choice was, of course, the role that they gave to play Batman, and that was to George Clooney. George Clooney was so wrong on so many aspects of this movie. This guy was dull. It's just like, Batman's not even supposed to be dull. He's just supposed to be, you know, serious. But just to be plain cold, deadpan. This is a character. You know, the character. I mean, if he would have been chosen as a role, he would have played Mr. Freeze, emotionless, cold. You know, no sense of humor. I mean, I would have rather had him play Mr. Freeze. If anything, I mean, seeing him with Elle Macpherson as his latest girlfriend, I'm going like, okay, after having big relationships with Vicky Vale and Catwoman and Chase Meridian, which were, you know, pretty much were believable, and you know, you really get into it. You're like, okay, wait a minute, this is like his trophy girlfriend or something like this. He's just showing her off that he, you know, hey, I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm dating Elle Macpherson. It's just like, it was just so, you know, unbelievably. It's just so unbelievable that Yeah, this is his girlfriend, really. But I don't know. Being that I'm not a big fan of George Clooney, I consider him a big closet case anyway. So go figure. Another major example of bad choices for casting was, of course, Alicia Silverstone as Barbara, a.k.a. Batgirl. The only reason they probably put her in there is because she was riding high in her popularity from the movie Clueless. Just like George Clooney. George Clooney was riding high in his popularity from his hit TV series ER. This is what I think this was one of his very first major movies to really get him going. He wanted to become a movie star. And so they put him in this, which was totally out of his element. Yeah, I mean, you look at most of the movies. Yeah, he starred a few, war and action films and stuff. But what kind of people he usually draws in? He draws in the bored housewife, the tabloid reading women, the women that fall for everything on the nightly news kind of crap. And Alicia Silverstone, they brought her in just because she was popular from Clueless. It's got to be no other reason. Instead of getting a better actress who could play the role and all, you get her, and she's really bad. She was really bad in this. And to change the character so that instead of being the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, which would have been more interesting, that she, I mean, if you know, in all its purposes, they don't, Batman and Robin didn't even know who Batgirl was. And just to have her instead of the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, but to have her as like the niece of Alfred, I don't know why they came up with that idea. That was like, left field. She's supposed to be the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. I had not seen any, animated special, live action TV show, comic book thing that ever had her being more than Commissioner Gordon's daughter. And I mean, they could have did so much with that angle that she wanted to do. She was so hell bent on crime, and they could have just said like, Commissioner Gordon didn't want her to join the police force and stuff like that, and that just forced her to do the underground thing to become Batgirl. It worked for a guy. Let's make a girl, Batgirl, But I don't know. It's just in the way they did it was just her stumbling onto the Batcave, and I think she's not supposed to, and usually in a lot of cases she's not supposed to know who Batman is and Robin is, and they're not supposed to know who she is. They're on the same team, they just don't know who each other is. And I think that would have been a better thing to do than what they did with this movie. Now, of course, the third casting no-no was put Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I think the main reason why they had him play Mr. Freeze is because a lot of people wanted him to play a villain again. After almost a decade of him playing hero roles, I know it was like, it was over. Yeah, it was this came out in 1997. The last time he played a villain was 1984's Terminator movie, and that's what they wanted. They wanted to see him play a villain again, but instead of an actual, maybe, if Mr. Freeze is supposed to be this cold, emotionless man, thanks to these chemicals that he fell into. He, the only thing on his mind is to save his wife. He still loves his wife, but he's supposed to be cold and emotionless. He's especially in a movie like this. And all pretty much he does while trying to steal diamonds is he's putting out these stupid one-liners. It's like okay, let's make him a villain. Well, let's make him funny. And let's continue on that funny stuff he was doing in Terminator 2. You know, the one-liners and the catchphrases that the Terminator robot did in the second movie. No, it was just the reason why they did that in the second Terminator movie was that it'd make him more human and, you know, make him a likable character. To do that for a villain was pretty weak. And then, of course, at the very end when he decides to help Batman, at the very end of the movie, you know, okay, that was pretty weak. If anything, if they want to have George Clooney, they should have had him play Mr. Freeze because he's far better playing an emotionless role than Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, I mean, and they should have George Clooney play Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger play Bane, and all that, and Chuck Poison Ivy, even though I have to say Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy was a pretty good choice. She, you know, played the role that, you know, that everybody knew Poison Ivy to be. She's supposed to be the seductress. She's supposed to be sadistic. She's supposed to be, you know, hell-bent on conquering the world and making it a place for plant life. You know, killing all animals and, you know, all that. But, you know, I just didn't think that Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze would have been a team up, because they had two different ways. He wants to freeze the world. She wants to, you know, vegetize the world, and freezing and plants don't go together. You know, and of course, obviously, it didn't work out. When she wanted to wind up killing his Mr. Freeze's wife. So, you know, that kind of thing. Now, so, you know, that pretty much poked holes in most of the plot. I mean, if they had either Poison Ivy and Bane or Mr. Freeze and Bane, that would have worked. Now, of course, the final thing that kind of was wrong about this movie was the introduction of Bane. I think they put him in is because he was the character itself was pretty popular. Obviously, his character almost destroyed Batman. He breaks Batman's back, causing him to be paralyzed, battered and, you know, bloody pulp, and all that in the storyline, in the comic book storyline. But what they do in this, they didn't even try to have him break Batman's back. They had this big, hulking brute who was basically just the muscle for Poison Ivy, and he was just this almost mindless henchman to there. And here he is, you know, in the comic books, he was supposed to be this super strong mastermind who conquers Gotham City, for Pete's sake. And they just did this. It's like either they didn't read into it, or, you know, they just say, "Oh, let's just put him in like this," and it's just like Hulk with a mask, almost. But I don't know. That was another aspect of the movie that was weak. Now, of course, special effects, the visual effects, the scenery, the Batmobile, and the vehicles and everything. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I like that. I mean, the fourth version of the Batmobile, you know, really good. Obviously, they had to change the Batmobile again because, you know, the Riddler in the previous movie destroyed it. So you had to change the Batmobile again. You couldn't have the same thing again, obviously. But that's pretty much my opinion. I agree with, you know, this was the worst of the original four Batman movies in the late 80s, early 90s, and of course it took them over, you know, almost like 9 years for them to recuperate and start up a new Batman series, which of course was the current Batman series directed by Christopher Nolan. Now, in our next video, we're going to take a little break from Batman and go into a brief Batman spinoff, which, of course, is 2004's Catwoman movie starring Halle Berry. I'm going to do a review over that and have my opinions on that. On a movie that started off being a good hopeful, but then, just like last year's Green Lantern movie, got shot down just before it was released. And, of course, once again, it's 2004's Catwoman movie. And stay tuned here to the Multoyverse for more Bat reviews and Bat whatnot. Stay tuned.